Alright, so actually this question of the day, someone wanted me to ask. And actually I should mention this right now. If you guys have like a question of the day, uh, like a question you guys want me to ask somebody, ask out to the world, uh, go ahead and do that, but, don't, like, swamp me every day with questions. Save them, save them for, like, maybe twice a week. That's when I'll ask for people to do questions. Like, I'll do 2 questions of the day, then you guys can do one. I think that's how we'll do it now. So yeah, don't swamp me with just like personal messages of questions with ideas for question of the day. So I really don't want that. But yeah, like after 2 weeks, yeah, you guys can ask me questions and I'll pick out which one I want to do. So yeah, remember that, people. Anyway. On to the question of the day. This question of the day comes from ZKman44. He asked me. Actually wants to know this question, and this is the question of the day. Is it cooler for superheroes to be born with superpowers, or to be given superpowers? That's the big question of the day. Which would be cooler, born with them, or like the X-Men, or given an accident like Spider-Man? I'm one of those few people who enjoy a bit of column A and column B. You see, let's talk about superheroes that are born with it. Now, born with it, you could just say, oh well, there's no real origin to it. Then they're just born with it. There's nothing interesting about the origin or anything like that. I, however, see it like, well, not only do you have to grow up in adversity, you have to grow up with a power that could be possibly lethal to people around you. I mean, look at Jean Grey. She's probably one of the most powerful psychics in the universe, in the world, and she had to grow up with a power that could kill people. And look at Cyclops. He had to wear those shades all the time after that accident he had. Originally, people, he was able to shut off his eye beams on and off until a mutant hating group came along and a rock hit him in the head, and now his powers just goes on and on. It's kind of like breaking a circuit breaker or something, and the water just keeps in a boat. Let's say like you hit a boat with a rock, well, a very big rock, like an iceberg. Let's say that a boat hits an iceberg and the shutoff valves are not turned off. That's what it's like now. Weird analogy, I know, but that's the best way I could describe it. I mean, yeah, and growing up, you have a lot of problems, trying to make friends and, trying to live up to your parents' expectations, and then, you get the teenagers, and then it's high school, and that's a whole other load of shit right there, and, there's all that. Now, moving on to heroes who get their powers via accident, it falls under the same thing. Like, this guy could be going through the worst days of his life, and then accident happens through some freaky way. He gets given superpowers, and he decides, like, I must become a superhero or a supervillain. Now, that's another cool thing. Like, this guy, any hero, could be basically either kind of like Peter Parker started out, like he was just a nerd trying to get some attention starting out as Spider-Man, and then you have, he was just Peter Parker was nothing more than just a little scrawny kid who was given spider powers, and then he he got he got bitten by the radioactive spider. That was just a whole another open up another can of worms right there. That in turn caused a whole curveball in his life. Now that he's still getting even in the early days of Spider-Man's life, he was just getting picked on by, still by bullies and made fun of by girls, even though he had this amazing power he could use. So it all depends, basically. What I'm trying to say is it all depends on how the story's written. That's how I like it. You have to really engage me with how this guy got powers. Like, oh, he has superpowers and he can control them. Everyone likes him, or, it has to be a very interesting story of how this guy got his powers, or if he or she was born with powers, but it has to be like how they can control them, and how they live with it is the interesting part for me. So yeah, there's the question of the day, and like I said, please everyone wait 2 weeks before you guys decide to, ask me to do questions of the day. That's gonna be the new thing now. I'm gonna do 2 questions of the days a week, each Wednesday. Then the third time around, you guys can ask me questions. So, yeah, I'm out.